He was honored with the Presidential Commendation at the 16th Korea Popular Culture and Arts Awards for his contributions to Korean popular culture, but to those who have followed his journey from the beginning, this moment was more than just a prestigious recognition. It felt like the universe finally nodding in agreement with the millions who already knew he was a legend. When Lee Min-ho stepped onto that stage, dressed with quiet elegance, his expression poised yet humble, fans around the world held their breath. For them, this was not simply about an actor receiving a medal. It was about witnessing a dream fulfilled, a triumph carved through tears, resilience, and a journey etched deep into the hearts of millions. Lee Min-ho is not just a star. He is an emotional experience. He is the first crush of many who fell into the world of K-dramas through Gu Junpyo's fierce yet fragile charm in Boys Over Flowers. He is the silent warrior who carried pain behind every punch in City Hunter. He is the wounded chaebol who made hearts tremble with vulnerability in The Heirs. He is the reincarnated conman who danced between mischief and love in The Legend of the Blue Sea. And he is the regal monarch who walked through dimensions with quiet royalty in The King, Eternal Monarch. Every role he touched became a piece of emotional history for his fans. That is why, when he received the Presidential Commendation, people didn't just cheer, they cried as if they themselves were being rewarded for believing in his journey. But his story didn't start with glitter and success. His path began quietly, like many others. Small roles, auditions filled with uncertainty, the competitive arena of Korean entertainment where dreams are fragile and easily shattered. In 2006, life tested him brutally. A horrific car accident left him in critical condition, bedridden for months. Doctors weren't sure if he would walk normally again, let alone act. For some, this would be a sign to stop. But for Lee Min-ho, it became the moment that strengthened his will. As he healed physically, a deeper fire ignited in him, a silent promise that if he got another chance, he would give everything to his craft. Fans who later learned of this part of his story often say they look at him not just as an actor but as a symbol of resilience. Then came 2009, a year that would change everything. When Boys Over Flowers aired, people didn't just watch, they became part of a phenomenon. Gu Junpyo, with his iconic curls, cold expressions, and surprisingly tender heart, became a cultural storm. Girls swooned, tears were shed, laughter echoed through living rooms, and suddenly Lee Min-ho wasn't just acting, he was living in the hearts of millions. He didn't just rise to fame. He soared, not like a temporary trend, but like a defining symbol of an era. For many international fans, he wasn't just their favorite K-drama actor. He was their first gateway into Korean culture. People across continents began exploring Korean food, music, and language simply because they wanted to feel closer to him and the stories he brought to life. What followed was a streak of success that proved he wasn't a one-hit wonder. In City Hunter, he transformed into a vengeance-driven hero whose piercing eyes told more stories than dialogue ever could. Fans praised the emotional depth he brought to action scenes, making every fight feel like a personal war. Then in The Heirs, he became Kim Tan, a role that redefined the hopeless romantic archetype. His iconic line, "Do I like you?" became a viral confession across social media, turned into memes, wallpapers, and even wedding vows. Fans saw themselves in his characters, lonely, wounded, in search of love, battling expectations, trying to find their identity in a complicated world. His ability to portray vulnerability became one of his greatest strengths. He didn't just play characters, he breathed life into them. He spoke with his eyes. His silences were emotional essays. He could make an audience smile, cry, and fall in love within seconds. That emotional connection made him more than a star, it made him a comfort, a memory, a safe space. The global impact he had wasn't accidental, it was emotional truth translated into screen magic. When he received the Presidential Commendation, it wasn't simply because he had high ratings or popularity, it was because he helped export Korean culture to every corner of the world. He was one of the strongest pillars of the Hallyu wave, influencing viewers in South America, Africa, Europe, Southeast Asia, and beyond. In the Philippines, fans call him the nation's first K-drama love. In Indonesia, fan meet tickets sold out within minutes. In Brazil, people who had never watched a Korean show before became obsessed with his dramas. In Nigeria, teenagers discovered K-dramas through him and still say, "Lee Min-ho was my first oppa." Fans in Mexico created dance performances and fan clubs inspired by his characters. In Turkey, couples took wedding photos inspired by The Heirs and Legend of the Blue Sea. In India, his shows aired on national television and became instant hits, inspiring thousands to explore Korean language courses. He wasn't just an actor, he became a cultural bridge connecting hearts across continents. Receiving the Presidential Commendation was a recognition not just of fame, but of legacy. It was as though South Korea said, "You have carried our culture on your back and made the world fall in love with our stories." It was a moment where his achievements merged with national pride. Some fans said they felt like parents watching their child graduate. Others said it felt like their own love for him had finally been validated by history. But what made the moment even more powerful was his response. He didn't boast. He didn't raise his voice. Instead, he bowed deeply and thanked everyone who walked this journey with him. His humility, even when standing on the peak of honor, reminded fans why they had loved him all along. This award also represents his silent endurance. Fame comes with weight. Over the years, he has faced harsh criticism, pressure to constantly outperform himself, and the emotional toll of carrying global expectations. Yet he never retaliated publicly or lost his composure. He stayed elegant, respectful, and quietly focused on his craft. Fans often highlight this as one of the reasons they remain loyal. His character off-screen shines as strongly as his charisma on-screen. Even after achieving worldwide success, he never distanced himself from his supporters. Instead, he often addressed them affectionately as Minnas, reminding them that his journey belonged to them too. At fan meets, when fans cried, he often paused, listened, and said words of comfort. His connections with his fanbase were not built on marketing, they were built on emotional exchange. Following the honor, global fanbases celebrated with trending hashtags, digital billboards, fan-made tribute videos, and charity donations under his name. In some countries, fans even organized public screenings of his most loved moments. The atmosphere online was filled with emotional messages. He deserves the world. Our king has been crowned. We believed in him from day one. This is our win too. That global unity among fans proves that his legacy isn't built solely by his talent, but by the emotional community he has nurtured for more than a decade. But his career doesn't end here. If anything, this award marks the beginning of a more powerful chapter. The world now watches with excitement, wondering what kind of characters he will bring to life next. Will he play a broken king again? A poetic anti-hero? A man chasing love against fate? Or something completely transformative? Fans are already preparing to follow whatever journey he chooses next, because they don't just watch his shows, they experience them. In truth, this recognition means something timeless. Lee Min-ho is no longer just a famous actor. He is an icon, a representative of a cultural era, a symbol of Korean drama history, a source of healing and excitement for millions. His influence now extends beyond entertainment. It lives in the emotional journeys he has guided people through. It lives in fans who say they survived heartbreak because his dramas gave them hope. In young dreamers who entered the acting world because he inspired them. In international viewers who now speak phrases like Sarangi and Gamawo, because his characters made them fall in love with the sound of Korean language. In travelers who dream of visiting Namsan Tower because of The Heirs kisses. In those who believe in parallel love stories because of The King, Eternal Monarch. His legacy is stitched into the culture of feelings. The Presidential Commendation is not the end of his story. It's a golden bookmark in a book that continues to be written with passion, grace, and emotional power. What he has accomplished already places him among the greatest cultural contributors of his generation. But what makes him truly unforgettable is that even now, after so many years, his presence still fuels excitement, and his name still holds magic. He was honored with the Presidential Commendation at the 16th Korea Popular Culture and Arts Awards for his contributions to Korean popular culture. But to fans, he has always been something more. He is the memory of first love, the comfort of late-night binge-watching, the whisper of hope after heartbreak, the symbol of strength after adversity, and the dream that became real. Awards shine for a moment, but hearts remember forever. And Lee Min-ho's legacy lives not only on stage but in millions of souls across the world who proudly say, "He's not just an actor, he's part of my life story." In the aftermath of his Presidential Commendation, an unspoken question lingers like a soft echo in the hearts of fans worldwide. What comes next for a man who has already touched the stars? When someone has already built a legacy that transcends age, borders, and language, the journey forward becomes not about chasing success, but about deepening meaning. For Lee Min-ho, this next phase isn't merely about taking more roles, it's about shaping cultural memory. The world now watches him not as just another actor, but as a legacy in motion. Every future drama he chooses to embrace will not simply be a show, it will be an event. His scripts will carry the weight of expectation, the curiosity of critics, the devotion of long-standing fans, and the wide-eyed awe of newer generations just discovering him for the first time. And that is where his real power lies. Even after more than a decade in the industry, Lee Min-ho continues to feel like both a treasured memory and a new beginning. In an industry where time moves quickly and fame often fades like morning mist, he remains radiant and relevant. Every comeback sparks a global storm. When he reappeared in The King, Eternal Monarch, after military service, it wasn't just a drama launch, it felt like a worldwide reunion. Fans from different countries stayed awake until dawn to stream the first episode as if they were greeting someone who had been gone for too long. That is more than popularity, it is emotional loyalty. And loyalty does not exist without reason. Fans often describe watching his performances as a healing experience. His eyes often mirror inner wars, his soft smiles feel like a promise that things will get better, his heartbreak scenes echo real pain that people have lived through. Psychologists call it parasocial bonding, a one-sided connection where viewers form meaningful attachments to public figures. But with Lee Min-ho, it feels deeper than academic definitions. He has become a constant emotional presence for people navigating their own struggles, milestones, and dreams. His characters aren't just fictional, they feel like companions. That emotional companionship stretches across generations. There are fans who were teenagers when Boys Over Flowers first aired and are now adults exploring their own lives, jobs, and families. Yet their love for him remains a nostalgic strength. Younger fans who discovered him through newer dramas admire his elegance and commanding aura. Even casual viewers who stumble onto his shows often leave with a lingering emotional imprint. People don't just watch him, they remember him. And this is why expectations for his future projects are not just about storylines or visuals, they are about emotional resonance. What will his next character teach us? What silent heartbreak will he portray with quiet depth? What line will become the next unforgettable quote? Which OST moment will make fans cry at 3 a.m.? These questions are not merely about curiosity, they are about emotional investment. Beyond acting, his influence is expanding into a broader cultural impact. Fashion houses treat him not as a model, but as a muse. Brands compete to associate themselves with his clean, graceful image. Tourism agencies note significant growth in visits to South Korean landmarks featured in his dramas. Universities have cited the Hallyu wave, partly fueled by his presence, as a reason for increased enrollment in Korean language courses worldwide. Some cultural analysts argue that Lee Min-ho's global stardom helped soften cultural barriers, making Korean media, cuisine, music, and traditions more familiar and lovable to international audiences. In this new chapter, he stands not just as an actor, but as a cultural symbol, an ambassador of emotional storytelling. And symbols carry power. Yet, even with such grandeur tied to his name, he remains rooted in humility. In interviews, he rarely speaks in grandiose terms about his status. He often reflects with gratitude. Instead of portraying himself as a hero of his journey, he frequently credits his fans for being his enduring source of strength. This continuous humility enhances his resonance, making it easier for fans to love him again and again without feeling distanced by fame. But perhaps what makes his future so exciting is the possibility that he still has unexplored emotional territories to conquer. Fans wonder, will he one day portray a deeply broken father trying to heal? Will he step into a role that is morally dark, showcasing a complex anti-hero? Will he embrace historical sagas that test the full scope of his gravitas? Or might he choose something unexpected, a poetic narrative, a deeply psychological story, or a role designed to challenge everything audiences have ever assumed about him? With every role, he has the opportunity not just to entertain, but to imprint new emotional memories on millions of lives. For fans, the anticipation itself becomes part of the journey. They speak of waiting for his next drama as though waiting for a season of their own lives. His projects often become emotional timestamps, moments people tie to personal chapters. Watching him again feels like beginning something new while holding on to the past. The Presidential Commendation is now part of his story, etched in history. But what makes Lee Min-ho truly timeless is not just the recognition, but the ongoing promise of what is still to come. He stands at the intersection of memory and anticipation, carrying a past that inspires faith in his future. His legacy will not be defined solely by awards or ratings, but by the emotional echoes he leaves behind. It will be seen in the girl who watches the Heirs every winter to feel her youth again. In the boy from another country who learns Korean because Kim Tan's confessions felt real to him. In the woman who replays City Hunter to feel unstoppable during difficult days. In the fan who cries through Legend of the Blue Sea because she sees her pain mirrored in his eyes. And maybe, years from now, when new generations discover K-dramas, someone will ask, who started it all for you? And many will still whisper, Lee Min-ho. Awards honor greatness at a moment in time. But emotional impact honors greatness forever. His journey continues not as a star chasing spotlight, but as a storyteller continuing to touch human hearts, one role, one tear, one soft smile at a time. His next chapter hasn't been written yet. But fans are already waiting, with open hearts, ready to fall in love all over again.